I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Sparky.
And Salty. Chip is right here. People are asking.
Somebody was like, stop trying to incorporate Salty and Sparky into your thing. Nobody cares.
Oh, you're wrong. Because if we don't mention them, people are like, where are they? And that guy from Iran last night, he was like, say hey to Sparky and Salty for me.
Yeah, I'm like, how you gonna stroll into the village and act like you,
Yeah, like you know, and you speak for everyone.
God almighty. By the way, we have a fireside chat today. Fireside chat is when everybody can come hang out with us. I think there's going to be a QA session,
Yeah.
a lightning round. I think we're going to have...
Lightning round would be cool.
Yeah, people are going to pelt us with questions. And I think we're just going to have a general discussion. Those things usually last for like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah, what time did you decide?
I have no idea.
It'll be after 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Shout out to the big homie Jesse Days.
Yes.
One of our patrons. So he's at the $15 tier. So we'll promote
your band, your cause, or whatever.
One
thing that's cool about Jesse is if you'll notice in the picture, it says Vin Soriality. He created that picture for us. And all those eyes around our head is like all of you guys onlooking and stuff. So you guys are in there too. We're all in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's got more art than just that. If you look at the bottom in red, it shows, or orangey, it shows 2 different spots. Instagram. Yeah, I guess. Well, I think we're going to be the side, so I'll be like this.
I don't know where it's going to be.
I think it's over there. It shows 2 different spots where you can see more of his art. His art, I noticed, is very different. Like there's some things that looks like terror, and then other things it's like a cow chilling in a field. So and like a calm looking tree. So check it out if
he's
you're
a gifted brother.
Yeah, if you're interested. And then of course you see Vinny there and me. So
and Sparky.
And Sparky,
yeah,
that's right.
Sparky, the supposed guy
that
who nobody cares about. Yeah, sure. I don't know what you're talking about, bruv. Yeah, so that's cool. So our patrons...
You should just be quiet.
You should just be quiet.
Inside joke.
Is it Heather? Is that her name? A new patron?
A new one, yep.
Is it Heather, right?
Yes.
Okay, shout out to Heather, shout out to Anthony, shout out to all our patrons. Like I said, we're really focusing on those guys. We just dropped the first ever Vin and Sori single. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry if you're not on Patreon, that's cool. We're going to drop that in about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. But for all of our 10 and up patrons, they got the sneak peek. We also published our epic story. That's for the 10 and ups as well. And we're going to be also publishing a dramatized version.
Ooh, a dramatized reading. We're not going to act it out.
For the... Everybody knows that.
I just want to make sure.
Oh my goodness. So if you're 20 and up and you're interested in Vin and Sori original fantasy, there you go.
I'm the muse, he's the writer.
So, yeah, good stuff. Okay, so this is, speaking of fantasy, what a great transition. I have so much talent. This is Where Dead Angels Lie by the band, I think the name is Dissection. This is a song that people have been asking for quite some time.
I missed that.
Yeah, so I'm actually pretty excited to hear the song. Well, I mean, it says Where Dead Angels Lie, so that should be interesting.
Yeah.
But here we are.
That sounds familiar to me, but I'm like, is it from our YouTube channel, or is that like, I don't know, some random thing, some dream I had? Just kidding.
Okay.
All right. I do have weird dreams. Okay.
All right, Dead Angels Lie. Let's go. Okay.
That sounded familiar.
Well, it's like a folky.
Yeah, it sounded really familiar.
It sounded like Skyrim, that video game. Remember that video game we were playing?
Yeah.
I think it was Skyrim. Sounded like Skyrim.
No, I feel like it's one of the songs we reviewed. It sounds very similar to it.
Maybe it's just a genre.
Maybe, yeah. So, what? The angels, there was like a cast spell? A spell was cast?
Well, apparently there's a female angel, I think.
Yes.
And she's dancing in the morning. She's surrounded by an aura of light, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's good, everything is good, but then something is watching her sinister in the
Yes.
shadows, and with patience awaiting the night. So when night falls, the angel whispers, "Mournful night, attractive night, your dark beauty obsesses me." So the angel that was dancing in the day was
Attracted to the night.
yeah, she was basically drawn to the dark side, and then the evil basically killed her. A spell was cast, the sky turned red, and the angel's heart froze to ice. So because she was drawn to the darkness and then went there,
Yeah.
she basically fell under the power and then ended up dying.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's terrible.
What do you mean?
Well, it's just sad. You know, she's just dancing, and you kind of, maybe it's a sick, like, connection, but remember we were talking to that guy from Iran, and he was saying, you guys, please talk about what's happening in Iran and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like that, you know, there's that 17-year-old girl that was dancing and stuff, and then she's put
shit.
in jail and stuff like that. Like,
That's such a crazy correlation.
I know. But
Yeah,
I
we're
feel like
talking-
it was terrible to make that connection.
No, we're talking to the big homie at 3 o'clock in the morning, and this 17-year-old Iranian girl is dancing. It was Instagram,
Yeah.
and she got sentenced to 4 years in prison and 80 lashes. SubhanAllah. So yeah, he's kind of got this pure angel that's kind of like dancing, and then she gets snatched. Of course, from their perspective,
Well, it's still the same thing.
they would say, "Well, yeah,"
yeah.
because it's the
She was
darkness
attracted to
of
the
Western culture.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree. The movements and stuff were very.
I mean, they were seductive, but
Yeah.
I mean, she's a 17-year-old girl.
Right.
I mean, I was watching it going, okay, she's a little girl. I mean, my daughter's going to be that age in like 5 years. I mean, there wasn't anything like, I don't think there's
No, I don't think
anything
they should
particularly
put her in
sexual.
jail or
Well,
no.
there's nothing really like enticing about it. I mean, it's like it's a little girl's dancing and, whatever.
Well,
I didn't see that as...
I mean, well, I would disagree. I think that there was some, I think that the intention of the dance was to be somewhat seductive. I think
know.
that's the allure of the
I
whole
think she
thing.
was just... No, I think she was
It
just
doesn't
enjoying
look like
the
a. It wasn't like that. It was very like.
Well, it just depends on what type of music it is.
What was the song saying?
I don't know what the song was saying.
I think even the words of the song were. But besides that doesn't matter. Like, I don't think that they should throw the girl in jail for that. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
that's completely crazy.
But
But
they're looking at Western culture as some like lurking darkness that's there to fuck up their
Yeah.
their nice Iranian angelic girls. But there's sort of like a silent jihad that's going on right now in Iran with like
Oh, really?
Yeah, like women driving. They're like, yo, I'm gonna drive. Like fuck this, and it reminded me of I think her name was Nada. And it was like right in the middle of the Arab Spring, and of course the Iranians are not Arab, they're Persian, but I mean they all got subsumed into the Arab Spring. But right into the middle of that, they were protesting, and a Iranian sniper shot her and killed her, and she basically became the. That girl was actually the reason I started a Twitter account. I didn't have a Twitter account before that.
Really?
Yeah, but I was like, I wanted to talk about it like in every form I could, so I created a Twitter account just for that reason. My old one.
Gosh.
That's why it has that little green. There's like a little green leaf on it. It's like Jannah. It's like somebody dies as a shaheed basically. But anyway. But yeah.
It was terrible.
The concept of corruption of innocence is very interesting because it just kind of spreads like it's a concept that's almost universal that people in their various forms are trying to deal with. You know, so here you have this angel kind of innocent, but then she gets corrupted. Which of course begs the question, if she was that innocent, how the hell did she get corrupted?
Right.
Because there's something
Well,
in
there
her
was something in her that was attracted to the darkness.
Attracted to darkness.
Yeah.
So it's like, when people talk about, you know, Jordan Peterson made a statement that, like, people wait for circumstances to conspire against them so that they can have an excuse to act on their already internal inherent corruption. Mm-hmm. Which, of course, Jordan Peterson's not a Christian, but that's a very intelligent way of saying that people are born corrupt and sinful. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, it was interesting because, again, this is like one of my weird connections, but I remember one time, like, we were talking and I was saying, like, I don't understand, because there was this girl she was a bigger girl, and then she lost a bunch of weight, and she was mean as hell. Like, she was so nice when she was overweight, and then she lost the weight, and she was so mean, and I said, what about being skinny made her mean? And then, you know, I remember you were like, no, that was always in her. She just couldn't put it out there like she can now.
She didn't have the social capital.
Right, to be able to put that out there.
To be able to spend all that bitterness.
Yeah.
Now
so that was
does.
a weird thing, but it's kind of the same, you know.
Yeah.
It's inside of us, you know, but is there circumstances that allow us to, like...
Well, that's why I think Ben was upset at me, where I said there's only 2 or 3 circumstances that people need to end up doing the most evil shit imaginable, killing people.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, he took offense to that. We'll probably talk later in the fireside, Ben. Yeah. But the corruption of innocence that then leads to the death of this angel, and angels plural, because this is like, and then like winter here is
under the snow lies angels.
Right.
So cold. So it had happened before.
Yeah, and the angel's heart froze to ice.
Yeah.
Like winter and darkness is here used to talk about the overspreading of corruption and the triumph of evil over good and all the rest of it. And so, like, you know, when you look at people like, you know, Hitler and Mussolini and Pol Pot and Stalin and all these people, like, and we say Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Uh-huh. Well, Hitler did not kill 6 million Jews. I don't think he killed any Jews, actually. He did fight in World War I. Yeah. But I'm not, you know, particularly sure the minutiae of how many people he actually killed. But he needed the full cooperation of the German populace.
Right.
To pull that shit off.
And there was people that would say, like, when they put on, like, they would be like a normal family person, and they would put on that suit, and they would go in there, and they would do unspeakable horrors to human beings.
Well, yeah, they put on their SS uniform.
Yeah.
And they would do a bunch of evil shit.
Right.
Well, it's like
and some of them were saying basically that they loved that job because they could do out there what they always had inside.
Them to express their inward corruptions.
Exactly.
That was a quote from William Wurmbrand, because he was being tortured by the atheist communists.
Yeah.
And William Wurmbrand was a pastor. He's a Christian pastor, and then the atheist communists tried to get him to disavow his faith, and he wouldn't, so he ended up in in the gulag somewhere, and he was getting tortured, and the torturer basically said, I don't really believe in a lot of this shit, but it is very convenient for me to be able to torture people and do evil shit, because I get to express this form of my nature.
Yeah, and they were doing like some very disgusting things in there.
But that's what I'm saying. Is
there's like lines like, I don't like torture on any, like, whatever, and I understand that certain things have to do so lives can be saved, stuff like that, but like this stuff that they were doing was like, it to me just seemed like just unnecessarily disgusting evil satanic, like taking Christian rituals and stuff. Just disgusting.
Yeah. And of course, like, you know, the literary device here is brilliant, because he just graduates it from human to angelic corruption.
Yes.
So, like, we've seen enough history to where, like, if you talk about the loss of innocence of a human being, it's like, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
But angels, like, I used to have this perspective that the good angels were fixed in goodness and that they could not be corrupted after the fall. I don't hold that position anymore.
Well, when it says elect angels,
so
what do you do with that?
So, like, I still think they can switch teams.
What does elect mean?
To this very day, well, the elect angels are the ones that don't switch teams.
So then they can't switch teams.
Well, there's a class of them that cannot, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that everybody
them
on
are in that
Yahweh's
class.
team right now is in that class. Right?
Yeah, okay, I'll throw one with you on that.
So I still
crazy,
think that they still can switch teams. So they can be corrupted. As a matter of fact, it says there's this very like obscure passage in Job where it says that he even charges his holy. He doesn't put his trust in his holy ones and charges the stars with wrongdoing, which I think is God saying like he doesn't even trust his angels because they have a capacity for corruption.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting
Yeah.
concept.
Wild.
Yeah, it's a wild concept, right? So you know, most Christians believe that like the fall of Satan, like all the angels fell with him, but it doesn't say that.
No.
It just says that he fell, and then you have the sons
Well,
of.
I think they think that a third of the angels fell with him.
Well, it doesn't say a third of the angels in Revelation. It says a third of the stars.
Yeah.
And in Daniel, the stars are the people of God. It doesn't say they're not angels. So like with his tail, he swept a third of the stars and threw them to the earth. That just means he killed them. That he killed the people of God. It doesn't mean that he took the angels with him.
That's different than what people think.
Yeah, because his folks are in the sky. It says that Satan and his angels fought against Michael and his angels. So Satan angel, it's not like he took a third of the stars and put them to his team. It says he threw them to the earth, which means they died. So anyway, long story short is that like from a biblical perspective, angels can absolutely be corrupted. And they can be recruited to do a bunch of evil shit, just like humans can be corrupted and be recruited to do a bunch of evil shit. Which of course leads to the question, well then did God create angels with a sinful nature? And the answer is no. But they are corruptible.
Yeah, well,
so,
that's
like-
how it was for Adam and Eve. They didn't have a corrupted nature. But
They had a corruptible nature.
corruptible nature, correct.
Yeah, which Aquinas solved the problem for us and said they were created innocent. So if you say they were created all good, then
they
that
cannot.
doesn't work. They're not corruptible. And
Right.
Jesus makes a statement: nobody is good but God.
Right, exactly.
I think goodness is actually a divine attribute. Like pure goodness, I think
agree.
is a divine attribute, like omniscience and omnipotence.
I agree. I never used to think that, but I do now.
Yeah. So I think that so angels are not created all good. They don't have a sinful nature either. They're created innocent, and if you're created innocent, you can be recruited. And I think that a lot of them get recruited. And I would say that unless there's some sort of divine interference, that they'll inevitably go to the other side. That's probably for a different discussion. Maybe you guys want to talk about that in the fireside. I think that, and that's why they have to be elect.
Yeah.
That's why they have to be chosen.
Yeah.
Because my perspective on goodness is that like it functions very close to like a loaf of bread, or a slice of bread. Right? If you took a slice of bread and left it on the table, it's inevitably going to get moldy. It's inevitably going to get corrupted. You have to put preservatives or whatever in it to make it not get there as quickly.
Right.
And so, because goodness is not is an inherent divine quality, then you're inevitably going to go to sin.
Yeah.
If you're left to yourself.
Right.
Which is my solution for theodicy, as far as like how did Satan fall if there is no corruption or whatever. I mean, this angel is drawn as some sort of darkness. And there is something beautiful about evil, unfortunately. It says, your dark beauty obsesses me. There is something where
An angel bewitched by shadows.
like we've talked about this with people. Like there is something captivating about darkness that people like they're initially curious and then they become obsessed with.
I know, I've seen it, yeah.
And we've seen it, and then they get trapped in it and they become very like oppressed by
And that's exactly what it is here.
inexplicable dark shit.
And this says, where is it? An image on her face, an image of pain. So like, she's dancing, she's coming down, and then when she's frozen, like she just has this painful look. And these people like that we've had these conversations with that were first just like, I don't know, I guess you could say, like intrigued by the beauty
just
or
curious.
the curiosity or whatever, like, and then it like progressively became more and more until they kind of landed in this spot where they were stuck and they felt like they needed help out.
Yeah, there are some things where it's like there are limits to naturalistic Darwinian explanation. I do think there's a lot of things where if you don't think about it too much, you can explain from a Darwinistic perspective. But like, there's a certain group of people, then we all know them, who are just drawn to death and drawn to things that do not propagate our species.
Yep.
And are drawn to like supernatural level demented dark shit.
Yep.
They just are.
Yeah.
And they can't explain it, but they are.
Yep.
And it has a very like corruptive, decaying influence on them, and you can kind of see it in their eyes when they, you know.
Absolutely.
And then people get tormented by like inexplicable darkness that they can't understand, and then you have these, you know, these arrogant modernists going, ha ha ha, that's all okay. We've seen it. You know, like we've seen it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
So in this situation, the angel dies,
Sure.
which is an interesting concept. You know, because where dead angels lie, and it's like this plane becomes like an angel graveyard, basically. Mm-hmm. This is a very interesting concept. Because, like, you would think that an angel is immortal.
Yeah.
But there's that thing in Psalm 82 where it says, I've said you are God, children of the Most High, but you will die like men and fall like any prince.
Yep.
So, like, a lot of people think, oh, that's talking about human beings. It says you will die like men.
Which means it's not the same thing, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because at the beginning of the psalm it says that Yahweh sits in the council of the gods. Mm-hmm. It says Yahweh takes a seat in the divine council. In the midst of the gods, he holds judgment. Mm-hmm. So somebody asked me, like, do you believe that, you know, Zeus and Odin and all these things are like actual gods? And I said yes. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's probably irresponsible of me to say because we've got 2 minutes left and I'm not really going to develop that. So
come to the fireside.
Ask me on the next fireside.
Yeah.
But
we can talk about that at the fireside.
It is interesting. Angels can die because it says that they will die. Mm-hmm. And of course, what does death look like for a spiritual being and all this? But
what episode is the fireside tonight? So if somebody watches this and they want to tune in on that.
Pretty sure it's episode 5.
That's what I thought it was 5.
We'll probably title it something like Lightning Round Q&A or something like that.
Yeah, but look for episode 5.
We'll probably date it too.
Yeah, we'll put the date on there.
Probably be a good idea.
Yep.
Was it the 8th, the 9th, the 10th? Today's the 10th.
Today is the 10th. Yep, July 10th, 2018.
Yeah, so that's actually a very interesting concept from a biblical perspective. Like,
yeah,
you know, 2 years ago I'd have said, oh, this could never happen. Mm-hmm. But it absolutely, you know, I think that these guys are getting recruited every day. Well, what's interesting is from a biblical perspective, what I will say is that if they go to the other side, they can't come back.
Yeah. So
there's no repentance. Like if you, for an angel, so if you go to the other side and you go from Yahweh's team to the other team, then that's it. You've made your decision. There's no going back.
That's troubling.
Done deal. It's not troubling to me. Should have known better. All right, what do you give the song?
I don't know. What do you give it?
7.5. I like the musicianship. I like folky shit where I feel like you're around a fire and somebody is like, you know, playing like a banjo and stomping to the beat and like you're singing.
And their big beer mug things.
Yeah. Mead. They're drinking mead and like you're singing about your ancestors and all that shit. You know, I like that. I like that, like that idea. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, you go off to jihad tomorrow and see you in Valhalla.
No! Stay with me.
So yeah, I like stuff like that. 7.5. It definitely had that folky feel to it.
Did.
For sure.
7. 7 for me. I probably would have rated it higher, but I think I'm a little like this song is like some other song. I know it kind of was like the Cradle of Filth song in my opinion.
Or Ghost in the Fog.
Yeah, it had some similarities to that. So.
Well, this came out well before her Ghost in the Fog. This was 1995. So.
Okay, I'll give him an 8.
He'll give him an 8.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting thought about corruption. That's such a good idea. Interesting idea. You know, Jesus makes this phrase like the night before his crucifixion, or he's talking about the devil, and he says something to the effect of, "The prince of this world is coming. He has nothing in me. but I must show the world that I love my Father, blah, 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 blah. So it's like the final temptation of Christ was like to try to escape what was about to happen to him. But then Jesus says that Satan has nothing in him. He says, he has nothing in me. And basically, he said, let's rise and go meet the enemy. And so it's like, so Jesus had the self-understanding that there was nothing corrupt. He wasn't innocent. He wasn't just innocent. He was good in the sense of there's nothing corruptible about him. And which if my theory that goodness is a divine attribute, then that's a claim of saying that he's a divine being.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he can't feel the temptation. It just means that he'll never surrender to it.
Yeah.
That's what it means to be good. It doesn't mean a good person is not someone who's like impervious to the temptation to do the wrong thing. A good person is a person who feels it and then chooses good.
Right. So elimination of desire is not
right.
the answer.
Yeah. So it's the choosing. It's the constant act of choosing good over evil that makes a person good.
Yeah.
And there's only one being in the universe that can do that within himself.
Right.
And so when Jesus says, you know,
within himself, there's a lot of times people do the right thing just because of an outside, source that tell,
or with help,
right,
like our entire prison system is a way of helping society make the right decision via coercion, because it's basically, look, motherfucker, if you rob this bank, we're going to storm you and you're going to jail for a very long time. So a person is helped to make the right decision in the midst of that temptation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's only, that's my theory. But so I think that this is a very significant song as far as like this concept that even angels could be corrupted.
Yeah.
Is very interesting when you compare that to people who say that we're good people. Of course, in Thomas Aquinas' worldview, the angels are very high above us, and then there's ranks and choruses and all this.
For now.
All this. I'm just talking about Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
All right. Well.
So pray, you guys, pray for the people in Iran that are suffering under persecution. And,
yeah, dude.
And the government is.
It's a pretty repressive government.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a generational conflict of we want to hold on to the old ways and we're the ones with the power, and then we have new people saying, and some of this has to do with social media, where like all these young people are seeing all their 17-year-old compatriots being free and shit. They get to dance in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So there's that conflict, and hopefully, inshallah, there doesn't have to be a lot of blood. And I don't think that this girl is going to go to jail for 4 years. This is like a global outcry. So I'm pretty sure that she's going to, get a slap on the wrist and go about her way. I don't think the point was to go after her. I think the point is to tell other 17-year-olds, hey,
don't do this. Yeah, I know. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that, but I mean,
God almighty.
My gosh.
Yeah. It's tough stuff. Shout out to all our Iranian friends, though.
Thanks for tuning in.
That's mind-blowing to me that people are watching us in Iran.
I know.
It's insane.
You were like, what? It was like, what, 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, it was like 3 in the morning. I was like,
babe, somebody from Iran's talking to us.
Yeah, and then he goes, oh my God, you're talking to me. I'm like, are you serious? Like, you're from fucking Iran, dude. Like, I'm amazed to talk to you. Like, how many of you have talked to an Iranian? Many of you haven't. Then out.
Sorry, out.
Gone. Viva Iran.
What?
Viva Iran. Long live Iran. What's wrong with you?
The majority of us don't know what Viva means.
Yeah, just black out for the people.
No, it sounds like diva.
Gone.
Viva Iran. Viva Iran.